Pokémon Horizons just left fans enraged by showing the most unethical, horrifying, messed up, borderline war crime kind of Pokémon battle, and I can't believe those words just left my mouth. Episode 95 was really morally heavy and there's so much to say, including blatant romance between two of the main characters. So be sure to like and subscribe and then let's dive into the review. The episode began with Dot telling Liko and Roy that the building they found is a testing center for the Exceed Company, and it seems they're gathering trainers to test a new device, the Strong Sphere that Liko and Roy heard people talking about last week, so they decide to go and investigate it. When they arrive at the building, they're shocked to find that Uruto is here for the test too, and he looks way more low and serious than normal. A little while later inside the test center, there's an audience of trainers gathered, and trust me when I say I really want to start slandering them right now, but I'll be patient, their time will come. I'll circle back later to the absolute moral bankruptcy this crowd of idiots displayed in this episode, because I think Pokémon Horizons just gave us people who made me even angrier at them than even the two idiot birds or the two idiot girls did. I'll tell you all about why I hated this audience later in the review. Liko and Roy sneakily watch, and then the Dot doppelganger from the third arc appears on stage with her Swanna. It's always so cool to see continuity like this, man. She looks a little older now and her Ducklet evolved, but she's no longer with the other two doppelgangers. It's really cool to see that other characters have progressed throughout the year time skip as well. And I'm also wondering now why we don't combine the name Dot with the word doppelganger and start calling her Dottelganger, or Dottelganger if you're not British and actually pronounce your T's unlike me. So the presenter gives Dottelganger a Strong Sphere and claims that it'll make her unstoppable, and the Strong Sphere is very similar visually to Spinel's Laquium spheres at the end of the fourth arc, so I think we all know where this is going, right? Dottelganger and her Swanna are up against an Exceed Company employee and his Electivire, and obviously in any normal situation, Swanna would get absolutely decimated by an Electivire. Not even Cameron's plot armor squad in the Univer League could make his Swanna survive an electric type. But Dottelganger quickly uses the Strong Sphere, infecting her Pokemon with Laquium, and then Swanna uses a Laquium-infused water gun and effortlessly one-shots the Electivire. Dude! An Electivire one-shotted by a water gun? The only Pokemon in the world that should have a water gun that OP is Ash's Dracovish. Never forget when Ashy Boy brought a Pokemon with water gun to the Masters 8. Anyway, of course the crowd are eating it up and cheering and going crazy, but Uruto on the other hand seems kinda perplexed by the entire thing. He's kinda deep in thought. Liko and Roy obviously know this is Laquium. Roy then approaches Uruto, but Uruto does not want to talk, dude. He walks away, clearly something heavy on his mind. Then Coral appears on stage, followed by Sidian, and the whole world adores the explorers now because of the lies of Spinel, so Coral and Sidian are basically treated like celebrities by the crowd. The crowd goes absolutely wild cheering for him, and Coral even seems to have a simp in the audience too. Like seriously, every tiny thing Coral does in this episode, this guy, this simp, goes absolutely crazy for it. Which, not gonna lie, is kind of weird because Coral kind of looks like a teenager to me, and her simp looks like a whole grown man. But I digress. It's honestly kinda sad seeing the explorers being celebrated and treated like celebrities by the public, while the Rising Voltacklers are still being villainized and hated on by the world. It's not fair at all, man. Then Coral and Sidian spot our heroes in the crowd, and Liko and Roy are understandably staring them down with the biggest evils ever. Even without any dialogue, you could feel the power and tension of this moment. This is the first time the two sides have seen each other in a whole year, since what happened in Laqua, and the explorers clearly know that Liko and Roy have the knowledge and the potential to ruin everything, to once again get in the way of everything they're trying to do. So because of this, Sidian and Coral declare a battle against Liko and Roy on the stage right now. It's not made super clear, but I imagine this is so they can try and destroy them and embarrass them on stage in front of the whole public. If they can destroy Liko and Roy here on stage in front of everyone, then that probably means that no one will take Liko and Roy seriously in the future. And even Chouse is watching backstage. Liko and Roy are offered Strong Spheres for the battle, but they refuse to take them. They don't want to use them whatsoever. And man, it really is nice to see them sticking to their morals through and through. Coral tries to be lighthearted and bouncy and playful, but Liko's having none of it. She immediately begins yelling at Coral, telling her not to joke around with them after everything that happened. But Coral uses that to turn herself into a victim to get the audience on her side. So yeah, the audience are against Liko and Roy even more, and it's genuinely crazy how things have turned out this way, man. Coral Coral is so good at being an awful celebrity. It's quite funny, to be honest. Liko then shouts at Sidian, telling him not to use the strong spheres. They're too dangerous. But Sidian doesn't care. And even though Liko's yelling didn't work, it is really nice to see that Liko is confident and brave enough to shout at them in front of an audience. She really has come such a long way. The battle is Garganical and Glalie versus Meowscarada and Crocolaw, just like old times. But then Uruto steals a strong sphere from a worker, and I'm really curious to see where that leads. The battle begins with Glalie and Crocolaw having a beam clash, and to be fair, they're pretty evenly matched. I guess Coral has been training like crazy in the past year just like Roy has. Glalie's Icy Spinner and Garganical's Salt Cure then leave Meowscarada and Crocolaw bouncing around, dodging everything, but then Liko lures Glalie into a minefield of Flower Trick bombs, and that explosion ends Glalie's Fidget Spinner strat, leaving him open to be hit by Crocolaw's powerful flamethrower. And bruh, even when Coral is being destroyed, her simp is still simping. Coral and Sidian then pull out 2 strong spheres, and they throw them in the air, infecting their Pokemon with Larkwium. Man, it's about to get brutal. Garganical then does a crazy powerful Larkwium attack, but luckily Meowscarada dodges it, and that's followed by Coral's Glalie doing a crazy powerful Larkwium attack too, but luckily Crocolaw dodges it as well. But man, look at this. The power of Larkwium is clearly causing Glalie and Garganical immense pain. Garganical's body begins literally crumbling to pieces, and Glalie's body is freezing over and it groans out in pain. The Larkwium is clearly giving these poor Pokemon way more power than their bodies can handle. They are suffering, dude. And this is so clear to literally anyone with functioning eyes. It's horrifying. The whole idea of strong spheres is genuinely horrendous. If they become a public device, then so many trainers will buy them, thinking it will help their Pokemon get stronger, but then it will just end up hurting their Pokemon and torturing them and making them suffer. Man, I really hope Liko and Roy can put a stop to all of it before it's too late. So yeah, Liko calls all of this out. She tells Coral and Sidian that their Pokemon are clearly suffering. Just look at them. But then Coral brushes it off, dude. She basically accuses Liko of just being a sore loser, and that gets the whole crowd cheering and hollering and applauding. They're all supporting Coral and the strong spheres. Brother, this crowd is like a cult. These people are either brainwashed or they're just absolute idiots. Maybe both. Do they have eyes? Can they not see what's clearly going on here? Roy then begins yelling at him too, but Coral and Sidian just don't care. Our heroes try to terrestrialize, hoping it'll at least give them a chance, but then Garganical suddenly hits them unexpectedly with an overwhelmingly powerful Larkwium attack, and that leaves both Meowscarada and Crocolaw both knocked out unconscious in just one attack. Man, Larkwium is dangerous. But wait till you hear what comes next. Apparently Liko and Roy's Pokemon being knocked out isn't enough for Coral, because she commands their Pokemon to keep attacking. Glalie and Garganical begin pelting Liko and Roy's unconscious Pokemon. They're hitting them over and over and over with more Larkwium attacks. This is insane, dude. Meowscarada and Crocolaw are already knocked out unconscious. They're defenseless, they can't fight back. But Coral and Sidian just keep hitting their lifeless bodies over and over and over. Dude, what happened to Coral in the past year? In the previous arcs, I kinda thought that maybe eventually Coral would turn good. I didn't think she was that evil. But now, this is the most evil and villainous she's ever been. Has the power of Larkwium gone to her head as well? So yeah, they continue demolishing the unconscious Crocolaw and Meowscarada, and Liko and Roy understandably are just as horrified as we are watching it. They can't believe what they're seeing. Captain Pikachu quickly leaps into action, trying to stop them desperately. And I cannot believe I'm about to say this. The audience are still excited and cheering. They are still clapping and having fun. Oh my gosh. I don't know what to say. This is insane. How are these so-called Pokemon trainers still enjoying this battle? It's not even a battle at this point. It's blatant animal abuse. Coral and Sidian chose to keep brutally attacking 2 Pokemon who were already unconscious. I am stunned right now. Like, dude, it's literally defined as a war crime to continue attacking people who are defenseless. People who can't fight back. Coral and Sidian literally just committed a war crime. Why are the crowd still cheering and having a ball after that? There's clearly Pokemon suffering here, and yet the audience are still having fun? Nobody in the crowd has anything against it? Man, we're gathered here today to mourn the death of critical thinking in this stadium, to mourn the death of just being a good person, because this was shocking, dude. You know, I expect these evils from the explorers, but from a crowd of regular Pokemon trainers? Insane. Every single person in that crowd deserves their trainer licenses revoked immediately. That's what would have happened back in the Ash days. But yeah, man, it genuinely caused me so much rage watching their reactions. Coral and Sidian, what they did horrified me, but this audience's reaction to it? That enraged me, dude. But luckily, Uruto then jumps on the stage, interrupting everyone. He holds the strong sphere up in the air, the one he stole. Uruto says it's true the explorers are strong, but that doesn't change the fact that their battles suck. Go on, Uruto, tell him, son. Roy then yells out, telling Uruto not to use the strong sphere, and I imagine this is what most of the viewers were thinking too, that all of this would lead to Uruto turning to the dark side and using the strong sphere. But Uruto proves everyone wrong. He grabs the strong sphere, and he triumphantly throws it to the ground, smashing it to pieces. Dude, this scene was so powerful. I'm so proud of Uruto, dude. As you guys know, I've always been a huge Uruto fan. I've always said he's going to be a game changer in this series, to keep an eye on him, and a lot of people thought he'd side with the explorers in this episode, but I always had faith in him. I mean, yeah, I may have compared him to a rat a few weeks ago, but I said it with love, okay? I love rats. But yeah, it's so awesome that Uruto clearly observed what was happening and put 2 and 2 together about the Laqua and the strong spheres and the dangers, and then he chose to take a stand against it publicly. Uruto's Sableye then begins beating the heck out of Glalie with ease. So Coral begins raging about this and Glalie begins self-destructing, but Chouse quickly presses a button to block the view of the audience. She very quickly covers it up when it becomes ugly, because she knows that the explorers being loved by the public is their greatest asset. But even after all of that, that crowd of absolute losers are still cheering for Coral. They're still cheering for the explorers. Bruh. I don't know what to say. After everything, they're still cheering for him. I hate this audience so much. Later on, our heroes find out from Dot that the strong sphere is kinda going viral online. A lot of people are excited about it, and obviously Liko and Roy are frustrated because they know barely no one will believe them if they ever reveal the truth of the horrors behind it. But Uruto arrives and says that he believes them. Liko smiles and thanks him for today, and obviously Uruto goes awkward because Liko's a girl and Uruto is Uruto, and yeah, it seems like our heroes are bonding with him a bit more here. Uruto said he had fun beating the explorers up, and he also tells Roy that the reason he looked a little depressed earlier is because he got travel sickness on the bus. That's kinda funny, man, I'll give him that. Uruto then announces that he's decided he's gonna join Liko and Roy. He just says it straight up. Roy and Dot are a little bit iffy on the idea, but Liko has seen the true Uruto now. She's okay with Uruto joining them. So yeah, just like that, we have the newest member of the Rising Vault Tacklers. Uruto, baby! I think that's so awesome. And what's really funny, something that took me completely by surprise, Roy actually kinda makes a joke about Uruto maybe having a crush on Liko. Dude, I know this is gonna make the community go wild. I have a lot to say about all of that romance stuff, but I think I'm probably gonna save it for a future video. But I do like that Horizons, after the time skip, is bringing romance up a lot more. It does make the characters feel a lot more mature and older after the time skip. I do really wonder if Uruto's crush on Liko will come back into play later on, maybe bringing Uruto closer to Liko, or pushing him further apart from Roy. A lot of people think that Roy likes Liko, but the way that Roy was so open talking about Uruto's crush on Liko, either he's one really secure guy, or maybe he just hasn't fully realised how he feels towards Liko yet. Either way, Roy really said, I hope you've only got eyes for Pokemon and not eyes for anyone else, Uruto. Man, all this romance is giving me X, Y, and Z vibes with Ash and Serena, I love it. But like I said, that's a topic for another day. So yeah, overall, this episode was another 10 out of 10 from Horizons. I won't yap any more about my raging anger for the crowd, or my horrifying horror for what Coral did, so let's talk about other stuff. The way this episode built up to Uruto joining our heroes was so perfect. They really left us wondering for the whole episode whether he'd join the light side or the dark side. By focusing a ton on his low mood and his deep thinking over the strong sphere, they really knew what they were doing, man. I'm so glad he stood up for what's right though. He'll be a great addition to the team. I really loved the battles in this episode, I loved the continuity of Doppelganger appearing, and yeah, the way it portrayed the horrors of the strong spheres, and the increased villainy and evilness of Coral and Sidian, and how much it made me absolutely hate the audience. This episode really did an amazing job. It's so clear how brainwashed Spinel has the entire world. He has them wrapped around his finger, and I can't wait to see what happens in the future. Let me know your thoughts on the episode below. Did you love it as much as I did? Were you as horrified or angered as I was? And maybe consider liking and subscribing if you enjoyed the review, that would really help me out, dude. Come join the Discord server if you want to watch new episodes live every Friday. today, and maybe consider becoming a channel member too if you really want to make my day. You can do both of those by the links in the description. Massive shout out to my amazing current channel members: Not Mini, Blazing Shots, Shiny Charm, Jay, Jascadia, Poke-san, Regular-san, Racco, Toten, Dowpals. You guys are absolute legends. And yeah, on that note, we better call it a day. Or a night for me, because it's like 3 in the morning. And I've recorded this entire video in one go, and my voice is so sore right now, you can probably tell. So yeah, thank you all so much for watching, and best wishes until we meet again!